The reason why you're not getting the things in your life that you truly want is because you're your own biggest hater. And I hate to have to say it like that, but if you actually weren't your biggest hater, if you were your biggest lover, your heart's desire, if you loved yourself so much, you would be getting everything that you wanted. And if you are getting everything you want, that means you've cracked the code. But a lot of the time, we don't understand and we don't know that we're actually our own biggest haters. I myself have gone through a lot of time where I didn't realize that I was being my own biggest hater. And that's actually usually what keeps us from actually being able to do the things that we need to do in order for us to get the lives that we truly want. Take the leaps of faith, take the chances, take the risks that are actually going to make a difference to our life in the long run. What we usually think is, what do other people think about us? Oh, I don't want to do this because my narcissistic mom and my narcissistic ex-boyfriend and this and that person thinks this and they held me back. And I can't do this because what if they and that and my cat and my dog and my mom's fish, they think this about me. Well, the thing is, when you think about what other people think about you, that's actually you thinking. It's you thinking that about yourself. It's you thinking, oh, I'm embarrassing for doing this. It's too much doing this. That is a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of what other people think, because they're not. You can't read their mind. And if you can, why are you worried about someone else? If you can read other people's mind, you will know how many things that they're trying to think about all day, how every single person got so much going on that they don't have enough time to figure out how to hate on you properly. And if they do have enough time to hate on you proper, then they got too much time and they got priorities that they got to figure out. But usually we actually end up being our own biggest haters because we think we're trying to become a better version of ourselves, but in reality, we're kind of gatekeeping ourselves from our best version of ourselves. It's actually a very normal human thing to do, because one thing is that we humans like comfort a lot. We're obsessed with comfort. Comfort is mwah to humans. So whenever something is challenging our routine or something that we've been used to doing for years and years and years, it feels so uncomfortable that we think it's a threat. That is why when you're someone who usually dates terrible men, or you only have experiences with narcissistic men or men that don't treat you right, it's going to be really, really hard for you to start dating good men, because anytime you actually have an interaction with a good man, your nervous system is going to be triggered because it's not what you're used to. And that's why when it comes to us actually focusing on our self-growth, we have to challenge ourselves. That does not mean you have to hate yourself, you have to blame yourself, you have to trick yourself. Okay, tricking yourself actually can work. Being Delulu is actually a solution. But I'm not here to promote that you blame yourself, that you're terrible towards yourself, to make yourself see that you are your biggest hater. No way, Jose. The easiest way for you to actually overcome this being your own biggest hater thing is for you to be more isolated with yourself and not have that much contact with the outside world. But we're not going to do that. So you're going to watch this video instead, because it is really hard for us all to just go to some cabin in the middle of nowhere and just talk to the birds and the forest and get into Zen mode with our own body and mind. That's not realistic, and I'm not going to promote that. I can promote making a little change in your routine to see how much you're actually holding yourself back. Some of the changes you can make that will make a difference, and you might realize how much of a hater you are towards yourself, is changing your style. And I'm not saying you have to completely change it forever and ever and never go back to the way that you used to dress. But if you want to see how big of a hater you are towards yourself, try to dress differently for a week. What you're gonna say usually, and what people usually say when they're told that maybe you should change the way you dress or the way you show up, they're saying, that's not me, that's not my authentic self, I don't want to do that, no one should tell me what to do, I don't want to have anyone say that I should change something about myself. That is hating towards yourself, because no one is saying that. And if someone's saying that, you know that they're crooks. But if someone says, you know what, maybe if you change your style, maybe that will make a difference. And you start lashing out like, oh, but this is my authentic self and I don't want to change anything. When you dress completely different for a whole week, first and foremost, you will have to purge all of the negativity within you. Your negativity will literally like burst out of you because you're forced to be in an uncomfortable situation. And we're not talking an uncomfortable situation around toxic people. We're talking you have to dress differently. Dressing differently is such a small thing in the grand scheme of things. But this will force you to realize that, wow, I'm actually a bit of a hater because maybe you wouldn't allow yourself to dress like that before. Maybe you didn't think that that style could be you and you thought that anyone who dressed like that was cuckoo. Whatever it is, thoughts that come up when you change your style for a little while, you have to be very, very wary of these thoughts and you have to listen to them. So be wary, but listen to them close. I went through this exact thing when I was trying to figure out why people weren't treating me as a feminine woman. I wasn't getting the treatment that I wanted. I was really burned out all the time. And then I realized, you know what, maybe I have to change to wearing more feminine clothes for a while. And before I did the change to wearing more feminine stuff, I was very obsessed with the fact that people shouldn't tell me that maybe I should dress more feminine and blah, 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 blah. And when I started dressing more feminine, I definitely did not feel like that was me at all. But it made me realize a lot of negativity I harbored towards myself, a lot of restrictions, a lot of boundaries, not good boundaries, but like restrictions that I was setting on my own personality because I felt like that wouldn't be me. When people say, well, that's not my authentic self and I don't want to try that. If you have to verbalize that, a lot of the time, that is not because you're comfortable with who you are at the moment. Because if you felt comfortable saying, oh, that's interesting, I might try that out. That's you just saying, oh, okay, nice. That's a normal response to when people say something that you're actually not interested in changing to because you like what you're doing. But if you feel like you need to bring out the whole, I'm not going to do that, that's not my authentic self, no one's going to tell me how to do things, that's actually a signal of your subconscious. It's a signal that you're suppressing something within yourself and you haven't let it out. Maybe that you're not comfortable letting it out yet, because the thing is, when we are letting a bigger, more advanced part of ourselves out, it is going to be uncomfortable for a little while. That's why I do suggest the whole trying to change your style for a little while, because it's actually a very conscious and a very easy way to pick up on the things that you do resent towards yourself. Because it's not being around toxic people. It's not putting yourself in a compromising situation. It is you changing your style. And if you think that that's a compromising situation, then I don't know what in the journey of trying to better yourself, you are going to have to make sacrifices. And that doesn't mean that you can't go back to wearing streetwear if you like wearing streetwear, or back to dressing feminine if you like dressing feminine, or back to wearing Uggs and sweatpants if that's what you want to do. But you have to challenge yourself, and you have to challenge yourself consciously, or else the challenges will come subconsciously and you won't actually know that they're happening. And you won't actually know that it's time for you to get rid of your self-hatred. You can either make an effort yourself to get rid of your resentment and all of that, or you can wait for the big tsunami, the big wave to hit you, and then you're gonna be ruffled. You're gonna have to make a big change that's gonna really be impactful, and it's gonna really make you uncomfortable. But it's all to make you a better version of yourself. That's how the universe works. The universe wants you to realize the power that you're capable of, but it's not gonna make you be able to see that unless it sets people and challenges your way. And if you are not gonna wake up and make the conscious effort to actually take those challenges upon yourself, it's gonna have to send you the big wave. And that's gonna be much harder to pick yourself up from. So it's bigger to actually make that conscious effort. We don't talk enough about how hating yourself is actually pretty normal. And I'm not saying you hate yourself like you're standing in the mirror and saying, I hate myself. No, your subconscious is just afraid of being released. Your desires, your shadow self is being created every single day because you're suppressing your own desires. And you're suppressing your own desires by not challenging yourself. Not challenging yourself by having to climb over a whole bridge, but challenging yourself by making yourself slightly uncomfortable and seeing that it is possible for you to make changes in your life. This is exactly what's actually procrastinating you from getting the life that you truly want. Let's double back to my own story because I feel like that's a perfect example. I used to be so caught up in this whole, this is my authentic self, this is who I am, that I didn't want to see no other options. And actually, my ego was huge. And I was creating a bigger and bigger shadow self for many, many years. I fear that a lot of girls have been through this. I completely denied the fact that I liked pink. And I felt like I was really virtuous for saying that I don't like pink and I'm not a girly girl like that. I was never into princesses when I was a kid, while clearly my mom has like 1,000 pictures of me dressed up as princesses. We actually don't know what we're suppressing, what we need to bring out, what we need to do in order for us to reveal our true higher self if we do not try things out. And again, that is why I said that changing your style, making a little bit of a switch, just doing something fun, like maybe wearing something more girly when you're used to wearing baggy jeans, or wearing something more streetwear if you're used to dressing very feminine. That is something that can actually very much bring out some thoughts you have towards yourself that you didn't know that you had. Because when we get used to dressing a specific way, when we get used to specific routines, then those thoughts, they're kind of like neatly suppressed. We don't think about them because the routine is just in place and we're not going to have to be faced by them. Then eventually they're going to come out by some big shock. If you do micro exposure to change and to things that might make you think differently, that have to bring out that I don't want to do this, this is not me, then you're a step closer to actually realizing some of the things that you need to work on. You're actually completely realizing that, because the emotions and the thoughts that you're telling yourself and that you're saying, well, people shouldn't judge me for the style I have because this is me and this is the only thing I am. And if I don't dress like this, then people can't see who I am. That is something that we need to face. And if we don't face it, we build resentment towards ourselves, and then we won't actually be able to reveal the version of ourselves that we deserve to see. So this is also why I think it's so important that we do make our own conscious efforts to get rid of our self-hatred. The self-hatred that we might not even know that we have within us. And that's why I'm saying we shouldn't go just live in a hut in the middle of nowhere or do bungee jumping or something that's extreme, because that's not necessarily going to make you face the things that you need to face, especially if you're a woman in today's world where everything is so focused on your body looking a specific way. You have to wear a specific type of makeup and you have to do something specific with your hair and you have to do all of this and all of that. We get very caught up in the identity that we do build for ourselves. So to the point where we don't even want to change. And if we change, that feels like we're changing for other people. So we get caught up in one identity. We think we have to stay the same way for the rest of our lives because that's the way we feel comfortable. And that actually closes off so many doors and opportunities because we're not comfortable with making ourselves uncomfortable and exploring something that we might not want to explore and something that feels different, even if it seems like it's not us at all. And I'm not saying you have to go and get a belly piercing and cut your hair off and do all of this to see who you truly are within. No. This is why I do suggest the whole style thing, because it is more manageable and you can go to the thrift store and buy an item that is something you wouldn't wear normally and wear it and see how you feel when you wear it. That uncomfortability you feel when maybe you're someone who's used to wearing only low-rise jeans and now you're gonna have to wear skirts for a week. Maybe you're someone who's used to always wearing baggy stuff and now you're gonna have to wear tighter stuff for a week. It's an easy way to challenge yourself, especially as a woman, because what we usually say is that no other woman should tell us what to do. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying what actually did work for me. Again, we're back at the whole, well, this is what other people think of me. No, that's just what you are thinking about you. You are judging yourself before you even make the move and try something out. Because you're not willing to make that move and try things out, you're doomed to repeat that cycle again and again and again until you actually are hit by the big wave and have to realize it in a big way. And you have to pick up the pieces because you refused to face the resentment that you have towards yourself. It is such a cool experience trying something new out when you actually get used to trying new things out. I, for a long time, have been used to wearing very feminine clothes. And I've gotten so comfortable with just putting on the outfit that I wear every single day that I did feel kind of like I was stuck in a rut of this is my identity and this is the only person I can be. And it actually was shrinking me more than it was expanding me. And I know for a fact that it was keeping specific opportunities closed for me. Like I could feel that in my spirit, in my soul. So I said, you know what? We're going to start wearing a little bit more streetwear-y, feminine streetwear-y stuff again. And I used to be very, very big on streetwear. So now it's like I went from streetwear to more feminine to even back to streetwear again. And I'm sure that I'm going to change something again and again and again. And who knows, I might end up dressing like someone from the 60s. But these phases are good. And a lot of people say, well, when you're a teenager, that's when you go through phases. And I know for a fact that all of the girlies that I see and I like following on social media, they all go through phases. Phases are a natural part of being a human being and being an adult even. But we tend to kind of make phases seem like a bad thing, or what if people think this about me? What if people think that about me? And we think that when we hit the age of 24, 25, even early 20s, I think a lot of girls might think that that's it. That's who you are and that's who you're going to have to be for the rest of your life. Just because your mom or your aunt or your uncle or whoever it is decided that this is who they're going to have to be for the rest of their life and that's what they've been doing for the last 40 years does not mean that you have to do that. You can challenge yourself and you can figure out new things. I know every time I visit some of my family members, they always tell me, oh, wow, so this is what you're doing now, or now you're dressing very, very womanly and now you're dressing very feminine. Wow, you truly became an adult. Like, this is how I'm going to stay for the rest of my days. Like, oh, next time I can't come and wear something else. And that pressure is actually us, our subconscious being awoken, and we're trying to suppress it. We're trying to say, okay, we're going to have to dress like this for the rest of our days because that way we are a better part of the tribe. But it's actually our subconscious. It's also their subconscious. It's them having the conversation with themselves. It's them having spent 40 years suppressing their own desires and their own want for change and being someone different and wanting to try new things out that they just project onto you that, oh, now you're a real woman. Now you're really this. Wow, that's not who you used to be, or this is what you used to be. The reason why I say that you are your biggest hater when it comes to people saying this, because people actually might be saying stuff towards you, is that we internalize it and we take it too seriously when people tell us, wow, you did change a lot, or this is who you're gonna be now. We don't realize that these people got their own battles on their own and they're actually facing their own things. They actually think what you probably might be thinking, oh, what are they thinking about me? And they haven't done their work of trying to challenge themselves and say, okay, you know what? This is what we're wearing today. We're wearing something completely different. And it's going to be different. It's going to be weird. They're not doing that because when you get to a certain age, people just assume that you're just going to continue doing what you've been doing for the rest of your life. So they actually project onto you their consciousness, which is, what are they going to think about me? And then you are replying with, oh, what are they going to think about me? So it's actually everyone's thinking about what other people are thinking about them, but it's just them thinking about themselves. And that's what's keeping us from actually getting the lives that we truly want, because we deserve more. We deserve everything. We deserve to be every single era. We deserve to be every single aesthetic we want to try out. We deserve to try out whatever it is we want to try out. Your Instagram feed doesn't have to be curated to one aesthetic for the rest of your life. It's not going to happen and it's not going to make you feel happy. Let yourself be consistently inconsistent, which is also a power move, and we can talk about that in a completely different video. Being consistently inconsistent is a power. Consistently being inconsistent is you taking yourself out of your comfort zone consciously to make sure that you figure out how much of yourself that's actually out there. And that's why I say that we are our own biggest haters, because we're so afraid of what other people are thinking, but it's actually just what we're thinking about ourselves. And we don't deserve to be there. We deserve to say F it all and go out and do whatever we want to do. And if we end up going back to the style that we had 3 years ago, great. If we end up discovering something new about ourselves that we can add to our resume of being awesome, that's great. What other people think about you is just what you think about yourself. So take a chance, try something new, figure out if it works or if it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, that's great. And if it does work, that's great. Challenge yourself consciously so you're not going to have to be challenged by the universe, because the universe wants to give you everything, but you just have to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with making yourself uncomfortable. You have to be consistently inconsistent. I love you guys so much.